Let's talk about Selena's. Because anything for Selena's. So, we all know what happened with Selena. I cannot believe it's been 30 years since she has been gone. Then we got the movie 2 years later after she passed into 1995. It was 1997 when we got the movie. We loved the movie. Well, I'll say for me, I love that freaking movie. Jennifer Lopez definitely did a great job. I actually forgot she was nominated for a Golden Globe for playing Selena. Now her sister Suzette has been talking. She recently did an interview on a podcast hosted by none other than Sean from Boys to Men. Sean Stockman. I'm like, damn, everybody and their mama got a podcast. I told y'all everybody out here got a podcast. So yeah, Suzette went on his podcast and basically said that they didn't want to do a biopic. That they were forced to do a biopic because they needed to get ahead of it because Hollywood was going to do a biopic on her sister, whether they wanted to go along with it or not. And that's when the backlash came out 2 years later because they're like, oh, the Quintanillas, they want to, it's a money grab and y'all want to take advantage of Selena while she's dead. And it's like, a lot of y'all have no idea how politics in the industry and all that other stuff works. Selena was on the cusp of breaking over into the Anglo music market. She was about to be that crossover star to go from the Tejano music into more US pop stuff. So to mix her Tejano music with a lot more of the American Anglo type of market, which she would have been able to do that before, like the Shakiras and the Jennifer Lopez's and all these other ones. And we can't sit up here and deny the fact that, yes, because Jennifer Lopez, who was a dancer and not a singer, didn't play Selena, she probably would have never thought about getting a music contract or getting into the pop music space. But I think because of her doing Selena, I guess the wheels and everything started turning. I don't know who came to her with the idea, or it was something that she had the idea of based off of things that she was hearing, where they were like, you know what, since you out here looking real convincing with this whole pop thing, maybe you should consider jumping into the music. You don't have the most spectacular voice, but they can work around that. As long as you can entertain, as long as you get on stage and give choreography, whip your hair back and forth like you Willow Smith, and do the whole diva fan situation and pose and do all the things that a pop star does, we can pretty much make you into that thing that we need you to make. Because when it comes to being a pop star and all that stuff, it doesn't require, you don't need to be blowing like Mariah Carey or, any one of those girls. It's all about performance and being, getting up there in the razzle dazzle. So while promoting the 30th anniversary of Selena's Dreaming of You album, Suzette opened, as I said, she paid a visit to the podcast, which is actually called On That Note, and spoke about her sister's music career. At one point in the conversation, Quintanilla opened up about how the film came about and how her family was forced into making it. According to Quintanilla, the film was in the process of being made, and the family's legal team advised them to get on board to protect Selena's story from getting sensationalized. She said, quote, "We were forced to make that movie. Literally months after she died, our lawyers got word that Hollywood was already going to start making a movie. And if you don't have control of your own, you're going to be, it's going to be whatever they want to put in it. So that's the only reason why my father Abraham had to make the decision to move forward and say, we're doing this movie." She also added that Quintanilla's family was not interested in doing a movie so soon, especially 2 years after Selena's death. The star, as you know, was pow-powed in 1995 by her fan club president, Yolanda Saldivar, who for the past 3 decades have been trying to get her wide ass up out of the jail. And the judge keeps saying, no, no, no. In the words of my girl Amy Winehouse. He's like, nope, denied, your ass staying in jail. Because first of all, it says, look, I keep telling Yolanda she don't want to hear it. You're more protected behind bars than you are on these streets. Because if you was actually let out on them Texas streets, says you would not make it past the 24 hours that you was out there touching the grass. You know how many people want you unalive, but then again, the way that ICE is out here trying to deport people, a lot of these, Texas might be full of white folks by the time you get out of prison. All the Mexicans probably be, put up in that damn alligator Auschwitz. Because you can see that's what they doing. Even the ones that have, the paperwork and everything to be here. Because they trying to round everybody up. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go and round up us American-born citizens. Don't think that they're not going to do that. So she said it wasn't something that was on our radar at all. It was way too soon, to be honest with you. It came out literally 2 years after she died. And that was criticism. And there was criticism over that. This is what she said about Adam the Family Guy Heat for being all about the money. And despite the backlash they received for supposedly capitalizing on Selena's passing, Quintanilla said that she stands by the decision her family made and the film itself. Selena was directed by Gregory Nava and released in March of 1997, becoming a commercial and critical success. And you already know, I mentioned before, Jennifer Lopez, as y'all know, was in it. She was nominated for Best Actress at the 55th Golden Globe Awards for her performance, and the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress in 2021. So, as I stated before, I love the movie. I'm glad that Suzette got ahead of this because for so many years, I think even from I was a little young, so I didn't really think about it. And I kind of like, oh, it's too soon and all this other stuff. All I knew was I liked the music. And yes, Selena was touched by a lot of people. There was a lot of people that loved her music. I loved her music. I Will Prohibido, Beady Beady Bom Bom, so many great songs that this Miss Mama's done had. And that whole sound or whatever. And she still has influenced and touched a lot of people to this day. So I'm glad that, they decided to jump on board and was like, you know what, we need to get ahead of it because yes, Hollywood has made many unauthorized biopics and unauthorized documentaries, or whatever the case is, where they sit and put whatever they want to put up in it. And yeah, if they didn't get behind it, they probably would have put a white girl to be in the role. I mean, I think a lot of y'all if I do remember correctly, y'all was mad when they picked Jennifer Lopez to play Selena because how you picking a Puerto Rican to play a Mexican? They get into that whole thing where it got to be literally the ethnicity of the person has to be accurate. And at the end of the day, it's about when it comes to those things, at least they kept it with it under the Latino, the Latin umbrella. But it should be about who's the best for the job. Because I can look at 100,000 Mexicans, and if none of y'all are really giving me what I need in regards of the performance, you can hit all the beats with the choreography and all that other stuff. But I need that I need that extra aspect of the personality, the charm, what made people fall in love with Selena. And I feel like Jennifer Lopez captured that in the performance that she was, regarding the film. So, as I said before, I'm glad Suzette is speaking out on all of this, and I'm glad that we have this all wrapped up, so now everybody can just move on. Maybe everybody did move on, just didn't care. But I'm glad that she, 30 years later, we got some clarity on the situation. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding what Suzette had to say about the fact that, the family did not want to make the 1997 film, but had to because they had to get ahead of it. Otherwise, if they were like, well, we don't want to make the movie, Hollywood's going to do whatever Hollywood is going to do. They're going to make a movie that you're upset, that you hate. And people aren't understanding the politics of what's going on behind the scenes. So whether or not you decide to be a part of it, they'd have been like, the Quintanillas are greedy. How could you let them do this to your child or whatever the case is? And they'll get the blame because they see them and you don't see the director or the producers or the studio head or these people behind the scenes that were the ones that made the decisions to put what they put in the movie. So let me know what you got. Yeah, it's multi-layered and people need to understand it when it comes to these type of projects. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.